right. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the third episode of the Hot Corner podcast. We are going to go through the Western Conference, like just exactly like we did with the Eastern Conference. We did say this might be a little bit of a lengthy one because we can kind of ramble off a lot about these Western teams since we like to watch the Timberwolves. We got a lot to say about the teams that the Timberwolves play against and the Timberwolves in general. So, Tyler started us off OKC.
OKC, who? Do you see me? Um, anyway, the young team already they're undefeated through 6 games. Kind of kind of impressive, to say the least. They've been showing out, they've been proving themselves like last year. Last year they were pretty scary, but I think they're like, nah, we're gonna give everybody a break, and this is our year. 2024 was a bum year. 2025, do beginnings, Because I'm pretty sure they only have like 3 players over 25 anyway. So, it's and Shea. I feel like Chet is just like a thinner cat. I like seeing what they got. I wouldn't say anybody really like super stands out besides like Shea and Chet because I feel like they're just like the face of the team. Um,
So you
I
say
mean,
you think Chet is more the face of the team rather than like J Dub?
I mean, I feel like down the stretch, that's how it's going to be. Obviously, I feel like other people are going to be fitting in that role because they do have a solid team that like, anybody can go up and meet Chet's potential in my little opinion. But I feel like Chet is obviously Chet, seeing what he did when he first started into now. Um, I mean, he can run the team if need be. But obviously that's what I like about OKC is that they're young and they have everybody on that team that can fit that role. Like I know we talk about the bench going deep. Um, I feel like they have the best depth in the NBA right now. I mean, they've played everybody. So, well, minus like, yeah, they've played everybody. So, I mean, they're getting everybody touches of the ball. So that's why I feel like they're going to be like super scary and this is their year because they're not like everybody else where they play like 9 to 12 people, but they have everybody here.
Well, their defense has been just absolutely disgusting this year too. Which, like, you look at Chet, 7 foot, like what, 210 pounds maybe. Like he's scrawny as fuck, but the dude is just defending at the rim. Like, I mean, he's looking like an early like depoy kind of player. Like, it's good. And then to kind of build off of what Tyler said, like he can run the court with the ball too. He's got a jumper. Like Chet and Wemby, it's going to be interesting to watch how those two develop in tandem because you look and their skill set aligns pretty well. Like Wemby's handles are probably a little bit better, but otherwise, like they got the same skill set. So it's going to be interesting to see them two going up against each other. But yeah, OKC is going to be they're going to be kind of good this year. They're going to be 60-win team, proclaiming that 60.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think some of the key pieces on this team, not only are there some young guys, but you have Alex Caruso who got traded from the Bulls to OKC. That was huge. That even shot up their defense to even, this could be a historic defense right now. Right, they do rank it at the second best of all time, which not like I feel like no one's talking about that very much. They don't even have their starting center in Isaiah Hardenstein. Once Isaiah Hardenstein comes back, Chet will play the four, J Dub will play the three, and then probably Shea and Case and Wallen starting, or maybe Caruso. But they're like 10 guys, just rotate. One can start, one can sit, and it'll be just fine.
And even looking like back to the box score thing with the East that we talked about with like Al Horford, um, Caruso is another person. Obviously, he got to play with LeBron, so I feel like playing with LeBron that was a lot of wisdom that he gained, and he can take it to the younger guys, and he can be that veteran in a sense for everybody else. Because obviously he's not someone that really has ever showed up on the box score, but like just like his presence there alone, like he's just like tenacious.
It's
Yeah.
all the intangibles. It's the 50-50 balls. It's the hustle plays. It's the
Yeah,
scrambling, diving to the to the ground to get the ball. Like it's all those intangibles. Like he's so good at doing all of those little things.
Yeah, and that just goes to show too, like their managerial skills with Sam Presti. He's just been very good at, keeping this team maybe from being really bad one year, but boom, they're right back in it the next year. I mean, they traded for Shea and they traded Paul George to get Shea. And it was just like when they snuck in as a ace seed with Chris Paul the one year with Shea. Like it's just crazy how much they can kind of rotate through.
Well,
Like,
their guard depth particularly kind of reminds me of Minnesota's center and forward depth last year. Like in the whole 48-minute game, you're going to have a starter caliber center or forward on the floor. Like that's a horrible, horrible mismatch, especially for the second unit. When you got guys like Caruso who can come and lock up. Not only could he lock up your guard, but he could lock up your 1 through 4 guy realistically, and just eliminate your second unit's 6 man. Like that is unbelievably valuable to a championship level team.
yeah, I mean, it just goes to show that they've built a really good roster. They have 12 guys that they can pick and choose from, and on any given night, they'll probably beat you. There's not very many teams that can go in and play competent against this OKC team because I really don't see very many flaws. When you have the number one defense,
Inexperience, maybe,
yeah, I mean, they have the number one
maybe.
defense and the 18th ranked offense, but like they're second in net rating. So it's like it doesn't matter how low their offense can be. If they keep you to 98 points per game, they're gonna win. They don't even have the highest net rating. The next team we'll talk about has the highest net rating, which is
Celtics,
crazy.
right?
No. I think the point differential the Celtics probably have the most just because they blew out the Knicks.
Oh yeah, net rating. Yeah, you're okay. Yeah, you're right.
Um, but yeah, let's transition into the next team that has the highest net rating, the Golden State Warriors. Kind of our big thing, the big problem I have with them is they need the guard play to like step up since they don't have their best player. And Draymond just can't get kicked out of games. Like,
He hasn't. Yeah, he's doing pretty well.
no, he did get his first tech in game one, but he hasn't been ejected yet. So we're on a good sign for him.
Yeah, post Steph Curry injury, everybody kind of thought that he might find a way to sit out, but no, he's been playing well.
Yeah, and same with Wiggins. I mean, he had a tough year last year. There's a lot of personal things going on in his life, and he's finally stepped up. The guy who hasn't stepped up that much is um, AirPods. I don't technically know what his last name or how to pronounce his last name, but it's Braden Pozemski.
Mm,
Oh yeah, the point guard, right?
Yeah, they call him AirPods. He's really good. He is mainly a facilitator. He's not a high leverage shooter. He's not a high leverage go up and get it and like dunk on you. He literally sees the whole floor. He's the white CP3 right now, and it's kind of cool to like watch.
He like jump started them last year towards the tail end of the season, didn't he?
Yeah, he was like their eighth, ninth man. He came up, played really well, and then they pushed him to the starting spot because Wiggins was struggling so bad. And
Yeah,
then
Wiggins and Clay both just looked horrible.
so then they switched it now that Wiggins is starting still. And then they have Buddy Hield coming off the bench, Jonathan Kaminga coming off the bench, Moses Moody coming off the bench, AirPod coming off the bench. They have key guys to like
Oh
take
yeah.
them take them deep this year, and we didn't think so. We thought that last year they lost Clay Thompson to this offseason. They didn't play well last year. Like they were done, right? I don't know. To me, I thought they were done.
I thought at best this year, like maybe an eighth seed at best, because I think we hinted a little bit at last week or whenever we did this last, like the West is fucking stacked. The West is going to be a bloodbath. Like 3-3 right now, the Wolves are like I'm not terribly upset about that because just how good the West is. So like the Warriors playing as well as they are and being without Steph Curry, uh, they're looking good.
You know, I feel like Kaminga is he's starting to come up a little bit more um as the games go on, and he's like starting to ramp up a little bit. And I feel like I don't know if Kyle Anderson is a good person that was brought to Golden State, but I feel like I mean, he's shooting 37.5 from the field, and I mean, he's averaging almost 2 steals a game too. So I mean, adding that defensive piece right there too. I feel like it's a good fit, but for Golden State in itself, I feel like having everybody get touches of the ball too is going to be very beneficial, especially when Steph comes back and he's able to do his thing. Like obviously, Buddy Hield can take that load, um, and I mean he's proved it. But I feel like I don't want to say it's going back to like the golden age of Golden State, but
Kaminga has taken that step up to finally ramp up to this season. He did struggle. He started the first two games, didn't shoot very well. They put him on the bench. Honestly, I think he's a good bench player. Like he's a very athletic forward that can kind of shoot a little bit on the outside, but his main piece is he's physical. He can go get rebounds. He can drive into the paint. What sets us apart from this team from most other teams is they draft unbelievably well. No matter where they're picking, they unbelievably well just draft good players. I'm going to go through some of the players that they have drafted. Kaminga, Moses Moody, Braden Pozemski, Trace Jackson Davis, Draymond Green, Kevon Looney, and then Steph. Those are 7 guys on their roster right now that they have drafted and they're on the starting or like are in the rotation. The only ones that aren't are Andrew Wiggins, Gary Payton the second, Kyle Anderson, and Buddy Hield. So they
but
draft
still, that's
they draft very well. Even last year they had Klay Thompson on the team, and they don't anymore, and they're doing
Right.
just fine without him.
which
So
I think was yeah.
we'll get into Klay Thompson more when he plays or when we hop into the Dallas preview. Looking at the next team, we are hopping into the Phoenix Suns. Alex, I want you to give all of your opinions about this team.
Oh my God, why me?
Because I think you, out of all three of us, are the most vocal about this team. Next to like, I feel like Tyler hates Devin Booker, just like how he hates Jason Tatum.
Dude,
and
fuck the
Luca.
Phoenix Suns. Jesus Christ, man. I still occasionally go back and watch that game 7 against Dallas because I'm petty. Like if I'm having a bad day, I'll just watch that first half. And I'm just like, you guys are getting fucked and it's funny. Um yeah, I'm not I feel like there were quite a few people this year that were pretty high on them. Um like in all seriousness, again, on paper, this should be like a top 3 team. You got 3 of the most prolific scorers in the last 15 years, all on the same team. But to me, and like I haven't watched a bunch of them this year. I've watched a couple games, but like they just I to me at least they don't have an identity. Like with OKC, it's they're young, athletic, and they're defensive. Timberwolves last year, physical, aggressive, defensive, all that stuff. What what's Phoenix's identity? Like it's a legitimate question. I can't really think of one. And if you're going to be a top team, like I feel like you have to have some semblance of an identity.
Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal.
Yeah, that seems
Like
to be. their
Like,
identity, to be honest.
yeah, right. And I mean, we saw last year. I don't know if it was a fluke or not. Like getting swept by us, the Timberwolves. Like Kevin Durant's supposed to be a top five player in the world. Booker's supposed to be a top 10 player in the world. Bradley Beal, okay, arguably 15th. Like I would put him maybe 20th, but he's on the Wizards, so you know who can't average 30 playing for the Wizards?
Yeah, right.
Like, so I don't buy into it. Like there's just three pieces that don't fit together.
I think if they got their, well, I mean, I know Devin Booker just dropped 40. Um, so I mean, he's doing what he normally does, like have like I don't want to say like the in and out games because obviously he's averaging a good chunk of points and he's capable of doing what he needs to do for the team. Um, Kevin Durant too. I mean, he's a shooter, but I think having Grayson Allen on the team as well, like I feel like he's he's good, but I feel like this team has a chance of being scary if they can keep up their, I don't want to say confidence, but just being able to play and not
Like
having
their
the,
swagger.
yeah, basically like being able to put put the money where the mouth is in a sense. Obviously Devin Booker, he is a good basketball player. Like he has a really good game. He can shoot. Um, Kevin Durant, I feel like is he's Kevin Durant. I mean, he does what you expect him to do, but I just think if adding Tyus Jones into there, hopefully that like can.
Yeah, their big issue right now is that their centers are pretty horrible. Like Nurkic and Plumlee just haven't played very well this year. Um, they have Royce O'Neal actually coming off the bench playing kind of that 4 or 5 spot for them when they do the small ball lineup, which you can do the small ball lineup because of the fact that you can score at will. We've talked about them having shooters, and Tyler touched on it a little bit. They brought in Tyus Jones. Their biggest problem last year is that they turned the ball over at such a high rate. Oh, let's find the dude who is historically good at not turning the ball over per possession. So they brought in Tyus Jones. They brought in Monte Morris, like two guys who are very good at just giving the ball to their best players and just creating space for them. If you can create space for Kevin Durant, if you can create space for Devin Booker and create space for Bradley Beal, you'll be fine. I think in reality, they've started out hot. We'll see how it translates through the whole year. But honestly, dude, I'm high on this team. Like,
Yeah.
I know you two might not be very high on them. We've had our ups and downs with them because it's hard because they were the seventh seed and they got swept by us last year, right?
Mhm.
Six, I believe.
Six. Okay. Um, I just, it's tough for them because they had three superstar talented players and get swept, but I think they look fine. I think one, Bradley Beal had a hard transition. That's hard for anyone going from being the main guy in a shitty team to now you're in a system to where you have to give it up. You're
Mhm.
not gonna average 25 anymore. You're averaging maybe 20, but in reality, you're going to average like 16, 17, and you just have to hit your shots in the corner when you get past to him for that catch and shoot. Kevin Durant's going to get the double teams. Devin Booker might get the double teams, but you have to be there to hit the shot when they need you. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, and the fact that he's got to like accept like you might be third man on the totem pole. Like I can't imagine like that's got to be a huge change. I
huge.
mean, 8 to 10 years in the league. I don't remember exactly how long he's been in there, but like he's been 11. Oh, it's pretty close. Yeah, good for me. But he's always been that guy in Washington. So now to go to a bigger team, like I think he's got to be willing to like accept it like a lesser quote role to some extent.
Yeah, I think I expect this team maybe in the fifth seed, fourth seed. If they continue on the pace they're at, they'll be the third seed, but there's still, like we've talked about, the West is pretty difficult because not only are they're number 3 right now. That means Denver, Minnesota, Sacramento, even teams like New Orleans, Memphis, those guys are below. Dallas right now is below. I can't see Phoenix sticking to this trajectory, whatever.
Trajectory.
Yeah, sure. The whole season. I could see Dallas moving up. Obviously, Minnesota will move up, and Denver will move up because now they're playing a little bit better. And then Phoenix slides in at that fifth, sixth spot.
That's what I was going to ask. Like, who would you put below them then? But I mean, that essentially
I
answers
see
the Pelicans can't stay healthy, so
no, and as of right now, if everything goes perfect, I think the standings are gonna go OKC, Golden State, Minnesota, and then I'd say maybe Dallas or Denver. So those two alternate the 4 or 5 spot, and then you have Phoenix, LA, and then whoever fucking triples in there.
Not even having
yeah, but you
Dallas on top three. That's
you have
insane.
Golden State at 2. That's insane.
Well,
Hot take.
I'm
Hot
just
take.
if they keep playing well, but when Steph is there, I think they're better than 90% of the teams.
That's fair. That's fair. Okay, my
But I
bad.
mean their
Sorry.
schedule, I don't think their schedule was very hard to start the year. Let's take a look. Portland,
No,
Utah,
no,
New Orleans,
no.
New Orleans again, and then they lost to the Clippers. So maybe this is where they get their drop off because they just had the cupcake schedule and now they got to flip it. So that's a good transition to now the Lakers, who are sitting at the 4 seed. Um,
Bam, bam.
in reality, I think they've played unreal. I think they've played way better than my expectations because one, LeBron's just getting older. But the cool thing about LeBron getting older is that these guys actually want to start caring now to get him to another championship. He's like, hey, I don't got much left in me. And you have guys like Rui Hachimura coming in and playing well. Anthony Davis is finally, out of so many years since he left New Orleans, he is finally playing at a somewhat MVP level. He's always had games where he's shown it, but now he's actually like up there. And I think he's getting close to that competitive MVP type caliber level. And then they have Austin Reeves, who's played well. Dalton Connect, their rookie, who's played well.
What is the realistic over under if I put it at like 50.5?
Under.
Does does AD play under 50 games? Or do
Oh,
you think he's going to play over?
I feel like he'd play over.
I feel like I feel like he should play over
he
this year,
should.
but I'm not convinced.
Yeah, that is tough because let's look at his past couple years. Um,
I last year him and Ron played 60 games plus, I believe.
okay, he played 76. He played 50 or 54 or no 56 the year before, 40 the year after, 36 the year after. So it seems to be steadily increasing, which is good.
Right.
So I think right
So
now
I'd say I
I'll take
think
the
he could play
over.
at least 50.
Yeah, and if he plays 50, then I don't see them not winning those 50 games.
Yeah, and they could be a team that could I could potentially see them sneaking into the 6th seed potentially. But I mean, the West is so good, so realistically, like us, the Timberwolves could be the 6th or 7th seed, and we could have 50 wins. So
Yeah. See, I'm struggling here because the one thing that I mean, they brought in JJ Redick, and I get it. LeBron had a podcast with JJ Redick. He's a good friend of JJ Redick's, and he brought him in for himself because I truly think he wants him to help develop his son. I don't think it was a coaching standpoint of like, you know, I want you to run this team. I think it's more for his son. LeBron gets what he wants. He's the
Well, I
princess
mean,
of the team.
look at the
the
team now.
GM,
He built that team. He literally built the Lakers by himself.
Yeah, and like so I truly think JJ Redick is coming into this just to help Bronny learn how to shoot a little bit more consistently, how to, you know, space the floor and all that fun stuff. But I truly don't believe that it's an actual managerial like decision here that he's a really good coach. He probably is, but I don't think he's going to be one of those top coaches like Spo and Popovich, stuff like that. So,
I think he could be in like the next 5 or 10 years.
you think so?
I think so. I'm a JJ fan.
Does he stick with the Lakers? Like, if LeBron is gone and they're still successful, say he retires, is JJ still there? You know,
Why wouldn't he be? I would imagine so.
let's say they don't win a championship. LeBron retires in the next 2 to 3 years, and they've at least made the playoffs every year, but they haven't made that push to win the championship. Do you still keep JJ?
I mean, I would, but I'm also a big fan of like teams should just stop firing coaches after 1 or 2 years because I
And
don't look at Milwaukee
I mean,
like,
it's cutthroat. It's a cutthroat business. If you're not winning championships, you're gone.
and I don't think that's the right mentality to have. That I feel like that's probably a conversation for another time.
Yeah. Let's hop into the next team, Dallas. Maybe we should avoid this team.
To the four
Um,
people watching this, if you're from Dallas, fuck you.
I truly think that their big key pieces is going to be their centers in Derek
Yep,
Lively and Daniel Gafford. If those guys don't play well, then they just it's hard for them to have that interior presence. Like Derek Lively is the glue to this team, and it's kind of insane seeing how he's only in his second year.
1,000,000%.
Like we saw it before when they didn't have they had Dwight Powell out there playing center. He was
Right?
horrible,
Not
horrible.
not good. I mean, they had Porzingis for a year, right? A year
Okay,
or two,
see
but
this.
he
They were
only played
irrelevant.
12 games,
Yeah.
so
So Tyler, what do you got to say?
Nothing.
All right, Alex,
Nothing.
what do you got to say?
um I came into the season again not super high on Dallas. I think we all talked about that too. Like I don't think Dallas should be higher than like a fifth seed, but they just work. Like it's like the antithesis to the Phoenix Suns. Like almost everybody thought that two ball dominant guards, especially ones as good as Kyrie and Luca, they ain't going to work. Holy shit, it's worked.
Yeah,
Like, I mean, we saw it the other night in Minnesota. Played horrible. Luca played not great for the first 3 quarters. Wow, what do you do again? Defended by Nah. Another late three. Like, you have two of the best shot makers in the league. I mean, there's no reason Dallas can't be like a top four, top three seed, in my opinion.
I think
But
Dallas is just like unmatched, honestly. Like realistically on the court, having Luca and Kyrie, like Doncic, obviously you can put him anywhere and he's just gonna drill like any shot that he wants. Minus all his complaining, but I'm gonna save that for a different day. Um, he is like I mean, if he's not like if he doesn't win MVP, I know that he'd be the runner up because I feel like he has made a name for Dallas. Um, obviously, like they had like their key players back in the past for Dallas, but I mean, the team is just so solid and they just mesh so well, and that's what scares that's what makes them so scary. Is like they just they just go out there, play basketball, they share the sugar to everybody, and you get it in the you get the ball into the hand of the one person that can do everything. Obviously with Luca, but even without Luca, like you still have Kyrie, you still have Clay, you still have PJ
oh yeah,
Washington.
that's right, Clay.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like Clay isn't what he was, but I mean, he's still a person that can be reliable.
for
I
sure.
mean, he has the experience. Obviously, he was on that run with the Warriors when Cleveland was that 2016, 2015, 2016.
Yep.
Um, that was scary in itself. I mean, even Spencer Dinwiddie. Like I feel like he can be another key factor coming off the bench. So it's just Dallas is just good all around, with or without Luca. Obviously, with Luca, it's insane because he can literally do everything, and he is probably one of the most like clutch players. So I Dallas is just scary. That's why I don't like him so much.
Yeah, so I don't know for sure. I could just be like completely making this up, but like compared to other superstars, I feel like Luka's probably the only guy that if he with a minute to go, plus or minus 2 or 3 points or whatever, if Luka was like 2 for 28, I would be willing to bet my life savings that the other team still doubles him. I don't know if any other superstar that's like 2 for 20, 2 for 21 gets that double team necessarily. But Luca, like you have to. Like again in Minnesota, perfect example. Not great through 3 quarters. If you need a shot, he's going to hit that shot. Like and
With the
like
fate of the
Tyler said,
universe, aliens got the laser beam pointed at
oh,
Earth. One
oh,
shot, give me Luka Doncic.
I mean, okay, if Andre Iguodala is still playing, then yeah, obviously you take him over Luca. You'd be stupid not to.
Yeah, exactly.
But like, yeah, I think the Dallas team can kind of get away from not being a great defensive team because they make up for it with just killer fucking offense in crunch time.
Oh yeah.
Killer. Ugh, I hate them.
Yeah, the cool thing about this team, and I think the things that we just have to appreciate in just basketball in general, Klay Thompson didn't play basketball for almost 2 full years. Came back with the full season last year and now plays for this team. Like, it's just cool. Like, the NBA is just so much fun to watch because I feel like one, the trade deadline always goes crazy. I feel like most
Oh
sports it's
yeah.
never like that. Like the trade deadline always goes crazy. And that's because it's like now or never in this like league. You either win the
Yep.
championship now or you cut your team and just go, well, time for rebuild. So
Yep.
alrighty, now we're gonna hop into the Memphis Grizzlies. I know someone likes to talk about the Grizzlies. That's you, Tyler.
Anyway, the Grizzlies, right? So Jaren Jackson, um, pretty good.
JJJ.
Pretty good. Or as I like to say, JJR for some reason. I don't know why I said that earlier, but how about Scottie Pippen Jr., huh?
What about him?
Is he a dog or is he not a dog? He's a
He's
person, but does he have the dog in him?
he actually hasn't played all that bad.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm like.
He's shot 50% from the field, 40 from three. I mean, he's always shown some flashes, even when he played for LA, he showed a little
Mhm.
bit. But I think in reality, he was always just going to be a 10th, ninth, 10th guy in a rotation. But if he keeps playing like this, I don't see why not.
It goes back to what I said about the East too. I feel like it's a big man league nowadays, like this year at least. Aldama, pretty good. And then Edie, if he can find his reason why, um, as a tall man.
Yeah,
Um,
7'4" backup center, which
yeah,
I think it's hard because I don't see him ever kind of growing into the player he is right now. You know, he's
because
they're giving him the green light to shoot, which is kind of cool because you don't see very many rookies just get this green light. Um, but I don't know. He hasn't he hasn't impressed anyone to say the
exactly,
least.
it's kind of like Boban,
A little bit. I
kind of.
mean, Boban was very serviceable on he did one thing and one thing only, and that was to block shots.
Yeah,
And I think, I mean, they have Jaren Jackson Jr. to do that though, so they don't need Edie to do it.
yeah. He'll just be the glass cleaner or something. But John Morant still solid. Still one of their star players, of course. Desmond Bain. Um, I don't really know what to say about him. He's an all-around good player. He always proved himself, just like said earlier with Memphis. But their starting five is actually not too bad.
This team confuses kind of the hell out of me because I really don't know what to think about them. Of like, kind of like this high identity thing that Alex brought up with Phoenix is like, what is theirs? Is it
Blickies.
just Ja Morant? Like, Jaren Jackson Jr. obviously is a very good basketball player, DPOY type caliber, but like I don't know what this team can compel to, because like they're sure as hell ain't they're not a championship team.
No,
Like looking at this roster, there's no way. But is there anything that they can do to make it a championship team? Like there's always
get better.
those sneaky teams like the Heat and the Hawks that made their run to the finals and the Suns that made their run to the finals. I could see them being a sneaky team to make a run to the finals, but they would just lose.
Yeah. I don't know.
I always kind of viewed them, at least this was my perception of them before like all the John Morant shit kind of happened. Um, but I think they could really be a sneaky team because they just remind me of like a nasty team, like a team that's like they're not going to back down. They're going to be up in your face the whole time. They're going to be aggressive. They're going to play good defense. But kind of like you had said, Brendan, like looking at their roster, like are they not a play-in team? Like I don't know for sure, but like again, like it's the Dallas thing or the Phoenix thing. Like who are you going to put under Memphis? Because like I don't see Memphis being more than a 7 or 8 seed.
Yeah, I feel like that's what they're always going to be. But
Yeah,
I mean, they have potential,
for sure. I think they do
but
have potential. It helps when you have a star-studded point guard like John Morant.
100%.
Taking a look at the next team in the New Orleans Pelicans. This is another team that just confuses the hell out of me. They're the most up and down team, and they're the most hype team to like not so hype team. Like it's just crazy how great they can be and how terrible they can be. There's nothing to it.
Every single offseason since Zion has been drafted, I'm like, oh man, dude, I can't wait to watch the Pelicans. And then 3 weeks into the season, every single year, I'm like, man, I really have to stop watching the Pelicans. These guys suck. Injuries. Brandon Ingram's like half-assing it. It seems like. I, now DeJounte Murray's out. What do they say? 4 to 6 weeks now. Fractured left hand. Like
Yeah.
this team is just a bastion of bad luck.
And they haven't had Trey Murphy the whole year, which is kind of a big piece for them. Like Trey could do a little bit of everything for him, which is kind of nice. They brought in Javante Green to be that like small run around the floor and grab rebound type guy. He's a dunker. He's basically just a dunker spot for them, which is crazy when you have three guys who are just straight dunkers on this team anyways. So it's whatever.
Right. Yeah.
Um, they don't have a center. Like Daniel Tice is their center. They got rid of Val. They don't like this is the biggest problem is that they have a guy who can dunk and is very athletic in Zion, but they don't have a center. Unfortunately, Zion hasn't proven to me enough that he can play the center spot. So when you're going to run the small ball lineup, are you expecting Zion to play the center spot? Because he's going to get absolutely destroyed.
What I want to know is like, where's JaVale McGee? He should be the center. He should be the glue holding this team together. What a good role model.
This is not the 2020 Lakers. This is not the 2018 Warriors. They
Damn
need
it. All
more than
right.
just JaVale McGee.
That's true. I
But it
think he's
wouldn't
like 37 now, but
it wouldn't hurt to have probably JaVale on the team.
honestly though, like a prime JaVale McGee, whatever the fuck that is, like he wasn't. He was like a Mark Batson kind of player from the Timberwolves and the Lakers. Like
Yeah.
he's always going to play with energy. He's not always going to make the right play, but he's always going to give you 100%.
Yeah.
The dude could play defense, like albeit not standout, not great, but like he wasn't a cone out there.
No.
Like prime JaVale McGee might not be a bad fit for this team. Tall, lanky,
Yeah, there's
Always
I
in
don't
the
know.
highlights of Shaq and a fool.
Yeah, right.
multiple Shackton and Fool nominees. Yep, that's important.
Well, and this is another team where it's like, are you gonna tear it down or are you gonna go for it?
Well,
Because
you
right
have key
now
pieces.
I think this is the only time they can do it. This is the last year that they can take that step. Because what else
Yep.
are they gonna do? Brandon Ingram's been on the trade block for 3 years. No wonder he's half-assed half of his games because when you've been told you're going to get traded each year and not get traded, why would I want to play for that team?
Well, yeah, and his stock has declined every one of those 3 years. Like Brandon Ingram is a guy that I've always been high on. He's like a Kevin Durant light kind of player, tall, lanky, hell of a shot maker, but like he's like the past 2 years have just been like regressions when he should be ascending. I mean, people are talking about this guy like he could be a next superstar,
Yeah.
and ever since he's taken so many like backward steps.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't
because you can't do much, especially like as like you could like trade away CJ McCollum, but it's his 11th season. So I mean, how beneficial is that going to be, especially if
well,
he's injury prone like how he is?
and they just brought in DeJounte Murray. Like what did that do for you? Absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
To Denver Nuggets.
Oh yeah.
They're 3-3. They've played horrible this year. You want to hear the biggest drop off is it's this team. Not only have they struggled just guard play in general, their whole offense hasn't been very good. Their defense is not as stellar as they used to be. And it's like, if it's not Jokic, it's no one else. That's it. It's all Jokic.
Not even Russell Westbrook.
He did have a good game just this last game that they absolutely beat the crap uh, out of Utah. But they've lost. I mean, they lost to OKC, which that's a good team. They lost to the Clippers, and they lost to us. They could have won that game against us easily, but they
They were
gave it
up
away.
10.
Yeah, they gave it away. Their defense is just not great. Their inside presence is horrible.
Yep.
It's just,
It,
and their bench is terrible. Their
right.
bench sucks. Instead of, it's only, you have Russell Westbrook, Peyton Watson, and then Julian Strother. No one else. Dario Saric. Me and Tyler have talked about this. There is no reason why Dario Saric should be in a rotation in the
Nope.
NBA anymore.
Nope. He barely deserved it 6 years ago when he was with us.
That's what I was saying. He got cut for a reason.
Yep.
Hey, at least
Like
Christian Braun is doing something. I
yeah,
mean,
he is.
he's firing up a little
Yeah,
bit,
by
but I
But
dunking
mean,
on Rudy.
yeah.
I think Denver's got like almost that same issue that the Pelicans have, where since 2021 or 2022, whatever, it was 2021, 2022, right? When Denver won?
Yes,
Okay.
22.
Um, Jamal Murray, the guy who again was supposed to be like the next superstar, has taken a step back every single year. And I don't know, it sounds like there's some injury related stuff in there, but like even just look at the Olympics this past year. He was atrocious in the Olympics. Like, and you guys just gave him a max deal. You guys just gave Aaron Gordon, was he a max deal too, or he was upper
Pretty
limits
close,
too?
yeah.
Like, boy,
Now let's hop into Minnesota.
oh God, I hate this team.
This can be quick. This can be quick because obviously we'll have a ton of recaps of this team and a lot of filler. But I think in reality, it's the point guard play for Minnesota.
I
It's
love
it's
Conley.
Mike Conley and it's whoever's going to play the backup point guard. We don't know who the backup point guard is yet because we've been working with Nikhil Alexander Walker and we've been working on Dante DiVincenzo playing up with the ball. Now
Mhm.
I've expressed this to both of you. We have ran an 8-man rotation. This can't happen. This can't happen. We have so much depth. And yes, we look at this depth like amazing depth, maybe to an NBA standards that they aren't because they're rookies. Why wouldn't we play our rookies?
Yeah,
because
why
we're
not?
focused on winning.
And that's
We just want to
But
fine.
we're
win.
not winning.
That we're
I
three
know.
and three. So like if we're focused on winning, that's great. Then we need filler. We need older vets to come in and play the backup minutes when we don't have them. Like
I
that's
think
my
it's
issue.
I think it's because they've been such close games. Like you don't want to. I don't know what's going on with Chris Finch, but I mean maybe he has something to do with it. But obviously like Ant, like last year was like our year, but I think we're just focused on the wrong things. Um, so I'm not in with the team obviously, so I don't know. It's like what the process is, but if we don't get these guys the touches that they need, I feel like that's going to be our biggest downfall down the road. Because I mean, even in like any situation, even in an all-star game, you don't know. Someone could get hurt, even though they don't really do anything for it. Watch Ant, Julius Randle, or whoever else gets picked up for like an all-star game, and then they get hurt, and then they're like, all right, let's like throwing me out there. And then like, all right, go out there and play basketball. I'm like, I don't even know what play like any of this is.
Yeah, me and Tyler
Um,
have talked about we're one injury away from being basically a play-in team.
if
Yeah,
that.
the thing that I've noticed, and I've missed two games. I'm in the middle of watching the Denver game right now. But the biggest thing that I noticed so far this year is like that defensive intensity is just not there, like whatsoever. Like last year it was immediate right away. Like this is going to be a very, very defensive team. It's going to be very aggressive. Like they were going to foul, but that was just the risk that the trade-off that we were willing to take. This year you don't see that. Like Rudy's looked good, but I mean, there's been a few plays where guys going down the lane and Rudy kind of just sidesteps or kind of backs up. Like Naz Reid hasn't looked particularly good defensively. Like McDaniels looks all right, but he's killing us on offense. So
I just feel like we don't have someone. We've always had someone who could spark our team up. We had P-Bev who could be like bring the intensity. We had Cat who could maybe wasn't the best at it. Now we have Anthony Edwards, but I mean like he can bring the intensity, but he tries to do it himself. So that doesn't
I
really pan out. And all the other NBA teams, like I feel like they have at least one person that can bring in and add fuel to the fire in a good way, not a bad way.
I was thinking about this at work today, and I feel like this is in 2024 an unpopular opinion, but I was thinking about this at work, and I'm like, it just kind of seems like we're like a little bit out of sync, like haven't been playing super long together. Why aren't we in the preseason like running these guys for three quarters? Like fuck the rest shit. Like I would much rather you be fatigued and playing well than play like fucking shit because you have no chemistry.
Yeah, I think
Like
it's
at least
it's
you're in sync.
it's the same issue when we brought Rudy Gobert and it's just a slow
Yeah.
start.
Yeah. It's
I'm
so
not
early.
worried at
So.
all, and I don't think either of you guys are worried at all. But I mean, it is frustrating that we beat Denver, we rally, we come back, and then we go to San Antonio and just get fucking smoked. It's like shit, dude. That game was over halfway through the third quarter.
Yeah, it was kind of tough to watch, but
So what are you guys' thoughts so far on the trade? Like yay or nay?
I think it's an even right now because in reality it's just too little of games, but Randall's played well And
Yes, he has.
DiVincenzo, yes, he's up and down, but he's fine. If we didn't have DiVincenzo, say we have Cat and we don't have Randall and DiVincenzo, we don't have another guard.
I was going to say McLaughlin's with Phoenix, I believe now.
He's with Sacramento.
Oh, Sacramento. Yeah. Okay. Yep.
So we would have to run the the rookies then. I think that was their big thing is they didn't want to force the rookies in, so they traded Cat away for two pieces, good pieces. That's the thing.
This this was very much like we are looking 3 years down the road. We're not looking for a champ. We're looking for a championship now, obviously, but the thought process is like how do we sustain this long term, like an OKC, like a Boston, instead of just doing like nothing against Denver, but doing what Denver did, where they won the title, and now we're talking about Denver. Like, man, what the hell are they going to do in the next couple of years? This
Yeah.
was definitely a future forward-looking move.
It's just tough because I don't Randall's on a 1 year right now. I don't know if he wants to come back to Minnesota. He doesn't seem like a Minnesota guy, to be honest, but we'll see. He might enjoy it. No one
He
looks
said
like
he
a
liked
Min.
our food.
That's cool. No one likes Minnesota, so we'll see
That's true.
how it actually goes.
Bring your ass.
Yeah.
Bring your
Bring
ass.
your ass.
No,
Taking a look at
sorry.
the next team, we have the Sacramento Kings. Another sneaky team. Obviously, they've been competitive the last 2 years. And I think me and Tyler have talked about this a little bit beforehand, but it's hard when you have the well, we talked about this actually before the Eastern Conference when we're going through like Fox and Sabonis. This is the year. This has to be the year. Is it a Fox issue? Is it a Sabonis issue? They brought in DeRozan, which I really don't know how that's going to help them. Yes, you brought in the most clutch player statistically last year, percentage wise, but he's not a space kind of guy. He's not going to shoot the three. He's more, the mid range. He's the classic type of NBA player. He's going to hit you with the hard step to the right, shoot the pull up midi, or he's going to hit you with the pump fake, go into the left hand on the layup. He's just, I don't know. This team, it's just weird. I don't know. Does it work? Maybe. Does it not work? I don't know. But in reality, I think they have a strong roster that just hasn't came together yet.
Yeah, we
And again,
we talked about this a
it's
little bit. Oh, sorry. Yeah, you go.
no. Oh no, I was just gonna say it's early. I mean, DeRozan is already like he's proving himself already. So it may not look that good, but I mean, he's still doing what he needs to do. He's still proving himself as to why he's like where he is. Like the is it the point leader that he's top 10, I think. Anyway, but I mean, he's still reliable. I mean, he's getting the most minutes on the Kings right now. Um, and he's still getting points. And I mean, he has 2.3 steals a game, and that's huge. But that was my little spiel.
Yeah, I think the Kings are in an interesting spot too. We had talked about it a little bit with Atlanta last week. Granted, the Kings are substantially better than Atlanta, but you're in a stacked Western Conference where it's going to take at least 48 games to eke into the play-in. Like, what do you do if you're Sacramento? And like, there's no doubting that Sabonis and Fox are both I don't know, maybe top. You can make an argument top 20 players. Like, yeah, Kevin Herter in there is it was a flamethrower from out. Like on paper, again, you have a good team, but like, what do you do? Like, what's the move? Like, I just like I don't envy being the GM of Sacramento right now because like I absolutely love the Kings, but they're not a title team, and I don't know what move you make to make them a title team.
Yeah, I don't know. I think they just have to mesh. I mean, I feel like Sabonis and Fox themselves are kind of, I mean, they're running the show like how they have been the past couple years. But I mean, Keegan Murray, he can do whatever he needs to do, like shoot the three like how he normally does. But I mean, even then, it's like you look at their bench isn't that deep with people who can score. I feel like there's not much to say about Sacramento besides them needing to figure out their bench situation.
Yeah.
If they figure that out, it'll be all fine and dandy. But
Taking a look, we have a couple more teams left that we can kind of just skim through. San Antonio, I think the key pieces right now is just Chris Paul and Wemby. Like Chris Paul teaching Wemby how to do these certain things and be able to expand his game. Jeremy Sochan's actually been very good. They also have a couple of guys like
Harrison
um,
Barnes,
Harrison Barnes, Keldon Johnson. They haven't who's Devin Vassell. Devin Vassell coming back is going to be a huge piece. Right now, they're kind of struggling, but also not. I don't know. They're not going to be a playoff team. I don't think they're just going to be average, maybe.
I don't know. I feel like the whole Wemby situation when he came in the league, I've been saying this. He's not as good as everybody made it out to seem. I feel like maybe if he went to a different team, he could still be good. But I mean, I feel like it's once you learn his game, it's easy to lock him down. Because if you lock down Wemby, I feel like you've shut down everybody else. Because CP3, he's, I mean, he's old as bones. So I feel like you can't really, he's not reliable. And then Sochan, I mean, he's not good by any means. Harrison Barnes, I mean, I feel like he's like the only one that can really do anything. But again, I think Wemby is washed.
Wow.
He's
After his
washed.
second year, or
Yeah,
just his
I
second
I
year.
said that when he got drafted. I knew he was not going to live up to the hype
He
that
gave it an
everybody.
honest attempt, but
Well,
after one and a
he's
half years in the NBA, he's going to retire.
Um,
I think he's been fine. I mean, yeah, this year he's struggled, but I think in reality, shooting or having 21 points, 10 rebounds, almost four assists. He was a DPOY candidate even as a rookie. He wasn't going to win it by any means. There's no rookie that I think has ever won it. But I don't know. It's the Spurs, and like we've always known as the Spurs as this great historic franchise. But I think right now they're just at a low to where it's hard for them to kind of build themselves up right now. They don't get very many free agents. They don't have many people that they can trade unless they want to trade Vassell or Johnson. But no one's going to want Chris Paul. No one's going to really want Harrison Barnes. Jeremy Sochan's actually played very well this year, averaging about 17 points per game, 9 rebounds, and 4 assists. He's actually been kind of the splitting the time of bringing the ball down with Chris Paul, which is kind of cool. Just that big PG type feel. So
Magic Johnson.
yeah, I mean, there's not much to this team. They're slowly building. They're better than they were 2 years ago. They're better than they were last year. I think they're just getting to a point now to where they're just trying to build around Wemby and see how it goes. Trial and error as of right now. The last couple teams we have Houston, Clippers, Portland, and Utah. Unfortunately, I just don't think these teams have very much relevancy this whole year. Utah hasn't even won a game this year. I think their main key piece is getting guys to play well so they can trade them away. That's just where I stand. Portland, I've told Tyler this team sucks. Portland is one, don't ever watch a Portland game. Scoot Henderson hasn't looked great all year. Um, Anthony Simons has struggled mightily from three, and they don't have a good center. DeAndre Ayton, after getting paid millions of dollars, sucks.
I'm sure he's really good at 2K, though.
Yeah, very good. I he could probably beat me in 2K, but I bet you I could outplay him in basketball after watching him this year.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Yep, for sure.
Let me grow to about seven
Yep.
four.
Yep.
And then the Clippers, I'm a little bit more hopeful for the Clippers. Yes, Tyler.
James Harden,
And that's he's played very well this year.
of course, and him and Norman Powell.
Norman Powell, he just gets a lot of shots up. It's cool to see just because Kawhi isn't out there. Like they have another guy to at least be like, "Hey James, I got you. Let me just throw this one randomly and just see if it goes in." But James is actually like
Averaging a double double.
he's given the ball up to the young guys, and Zubac just played really well this year.
Yeah, he can go up and grab them boards too. I think that yeah, I just feel like I mean Chris Dunn might have a breakout season. That's what I feel like.
Well, his career average is 8,
Okay, but I feel
and
Brendan.
he's averaging 8.
Okay, you know what? Screw me, I guess. Screw my opinions. It's
Yeah.
like the whole Ben Simmons thing. Oh, Ben Simmons isn't gonna
Well,
be
Ben Simmons is trash,
good.
so
No, he's not.
Chris Dunn is shooting 50% from three, but 25% from the free throw line.
Hey, that
wow.
don't matter. That don't matter.
That's horrible.
It doesn't
The
matter.
numbers don't lie, and they spell disaster for him at Sacrifice.
No.
I should know, as you should know. Well, I guess you didn't get too much of him at the Timberwolves, but I should know as a Bulls fan, he's not good at offense. He's very good at
No,
defense, but he sucks at offense.
Good thing he's
some
on the
people were
Clippers.
mad that we traded him back in the day too.
I'm just saying, James Harden, Norman Powell, Chris Dunn,
It's cool because
same team.
every game has been super competitive with them, which is really cool.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I mean, I don't mean to like keep talking about James Harden, but this could be another like not a Houston performance, but I guess I don't want to say OKC either. But I feel like James Harden is going to be like he's going to have a breakout year too. I feel like the Clippers, once everybody's healthy, is going to be pretty good,
Yeah.
especially when Bones Highland, you know, comes back. But
So,
James
well,
Harden, goat.
since we don't have much
Clippers are going to
time,
be ass.
what's up, guys? This is Brendan. As you can tell, I am wearing a completely different shirt. That is because we had time restrictions due to Zoom changing it to now you have to pay for a pro subscription to have unlimited time for each meeting, and that's kind of why you see the in between cut piece that I do between meeting A and meeting B. And it was just getting late, so we didn't want to finish it. So thank you guys for listening. In the future episodes, we're going to be doing a lot of debating. So, in the middle of this NBA season before All Star break, obviously, we'll go through standing recaps and some important key pieces that might come up in the future. But we want it to be more interactive between us and then also with you guys. So, please follow us on Spotify, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and then always make sure you are checking out any other things that are up to date, like our whatnot and stuff like that. So, Tyler's getting that and working very hard to get that all set up. So I really appreciate him, and we will keep bringing more content for you guys and keep it rolling. So thank you.